Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back. It's Shannon from Good Fruit, and we are in part 2 today of understanding love and becoming the gift. We are 2 weeks away from Christmas, and we are going to be talking about today the gift of love demonstrated by Jesus. So Jesus himself is the gift from the Father, but in order for Jesus to continue to be the gift from the Father, he needed to live it out in demonstration to being underneath the Father's will in obedience. And that obedience was acted out by Jesus because of his love for the Father and what it is that the Father wanted to do through giving us the gift of Jesus Christ. We're going to start off here as Jesus sacrificed himself for us to be able to enter into the same relationship with the Father as he lives in through giving us his life. The greatest demonstration of love that we can find in the Bible, the one that makes it possible for us to be reunited with the Father, is this demonstration of love. We're here in John 15:13. No one has greater love than this, that someone would lay down his life for his friends. It's through Jesus' sacrificial gift of his own life we gain access to enter into the same covenant, fellowship he shares with the Father. The Father's gift of Jesus leads the way, and in him we see that sacrificial giving is the highest demonstration of love. For anybody that has been walking in their journey with Jesus, they have found out when part of living the life of the gospel is to lay down your life for others, means that you've given up a lot of things in your life. You've given up the old self. You've given up the selfish desires to live and place yourself at the center of everything, to start to live for others, to start to think outwardly for those around you. It's a very hard posture as anybody walking in the commandments of God, following the directions of Jesus, that it's hard. We have been conditioned our whole entire lives to think about going out and getting things done for ourselves and stepping on every single person around them, especially in business, especially in these industries nowadays that are all about putting yourself on a pedestal. You cannot put yourself on a pedestal in this world without crushing those around you. Now, God has come into the world to demonstrate what true love is for others. And a lot of that requires for us to sacrifice our own desires and start to realize that the gift of Jesus Christ, in order to be the same gift, in order to become like the gift, you need to sacrifice your own desires and at some point your own life for those around you. We were not placed in this world for ourselves. That's the actual reality of what God has done with every single one of us. We have purpose that's not just about going out and getting the best job, making your own money. It's actually to take care of those around you. And he's going to demonstrate in your life how to make that possible. Be in communication with him. He is going to show you that everything that you do is actually to help those around you. And in part of that, as you bless others, God will bless you. And that's what makes all of this possible, is that you have a foundation to know that the Father has provided with you enough. God continues to sow into your life. And as he gives seed to you, that then you give seed to the sowers, and whatever it is that he's given to you, and he will give you more instruction about how to pour that out. And as you pour out, you then become refilled. So don't ever be afraid of walking into this process, because as we see is that when Jesus sacrificed himself, where he went after this was then to the right hand side of the Father, right? Crowned in glory, moving back into his position, taking dominion over all of creation, finishing his work for the Father, and now being able to guide us through giving us that gift of the Holy Spirit. So as we continue here first in John 14:27 through 31. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give as the world gives. Your heart must not be troubled or feared. You have heard me tell you, I am going away and I am coming to you. If you loved me, you would have rejoiced that I am going to the Father, because the Father is greater than I. I have told you now before it happens, so that when it does happen, you may believe. I will not talk with you much longer because the ruler of this world is coming. He has no power over me. On contrary, I am going away so the world may know that I love the Father just as the Father commanded me. So I do. Get up, let's leave this place. There's a lot to unpack in this statement. It shows the power of love. I want to start there, that the world has no power over Jesus. He has conquered the world. He came into the world to show us that through obedience, through following, through instruction that the Father gives and pours down into him, that there is no stopping the will of God. Yes, there is delaying the will of God, but ultimately, if you lead your life through the instruction that you receive from God, God will make a path for you. Will you have obstacles? Yes, because sometimes God's path does involve others and it does involve them being obedient, but that does not mean that his will not be done. It sometimes means that his will be delayed, but the God of the impossible has many plans, knowing that the heart of man sometimes will be swayed. But for those that love the Father, right, we talk about the obedience, the ones that live by him, the ones that follow his instructions, that there is no power over them. And the greatest power is that love, that gift. And then to understand what Jesus is also demonstrating to us is why it is important for us to live out the instructions versus what it is the world is instructing us, is that if we give the gifts that the Father gives to us to then pour out to those around us, the world then understands that those gifts come from the Father. The gifts that are given from heaven are not the gifts of this world. I give you peace. I give you love. It's the peace that comes from heaven is not the peace that exists in this world. In fact, where is the peace? We're constantly struggling with those around us. We're constantly in battles, whether it's on the internet or on Facebook or at the traffic light as the person's doing all, like the non-existent continual lack of peace around us because everybody is so busy worrying about where it is that they need to get to, worrying about that their opinion is spoken. It causes all of these things. So God is talking about the peace that is given by instruction, allowing for his will to be poured out into the earth. That is also the demonstrations that are made possible through doing what is instructed by God. So Jesus shows us here that his love of the Father by obeying him, his obedience reveals what real love looks like when it's lived out. Through that obedience, that Father's love is expressed through him. In Jesus, we see the power of love displayed through faithful action, following the Father's instructions, and revealing what is possible when a life is fully aligned with the Father's will. Love is the most powerful gift. Love is the most powerful gift. We do not respond as a mirror to the world. We are supposed to be a mirror of heaven, a mirror of the Son. And the Son was a mirror of the Father. Do you guys start to understand that? I always think about in businesses and places that I worked, and this is, like that pyramid scheme of life. The reason why they call it a pyramid scheme is that you learn from the top, right? And then everything you do, you build on top of it. But a lot of these schemes that are in life talk about like building and standing on others. But the way that God works is that God gives us instructions and flows them into the Son and then flows them into us. He is the demonstration at the top. And it's almost like the pyramid of power is flipped upside down. God's love still comes down into the earth. It's just, do we receive it? And then do we give it to others? So the foundation that he's building is actually inside of us. And then as we outpour that love, he is giving that to us. It's such an opposite way of like the way that we live life. And we think about, as I was talking about a few seconds ago, is that you can always tell a bad business because that the way in which their employees act or everybody that acts around them, you know that above them, nothing is good, because in order for people to act a certain way, that they have learned it and it's been accepted by those above them. When you live in the instruction of God and love from the Father, there is only one way to demonstrate, and especially through obedience and following his instructions, is to demonstrate love. It is going to be hard. This is not an easy thing. You think it was easy for Jesus to be beaten, take on the wrath of the Father, and then turn to the Father and turn to look at those that was putting him on the cross and says, Father, please forgive them, for they know that what they do. I don't know about you guys, but like somebody cuts me off and I'm like, I hope you get a flat tire, and like, obviously do not crash your car, but like, I hope something happens. You know, it's just, these are the types of things that we innately have on our flesh that we are trying to break free of. We have been circumcised from our flesh and our old life when we receive the Father through Jesus. All of this love, all of the things that enter into us when we receive the Holy Spirit, that now are made possible through our actions, through our obedience, and denying ourselves. We're going back to that first point, that death, the sacrificial giving, to sacrifice your own self-interest. What about sacrificing the emotions, the hate, the malice, all of these things that have been buried inside of us? They are not a part of us. God didn't design us in his image to be angry. He designed us in his image to be peaceful, to be a guiding light, a light on the lampstand, one that then lights the way to him. Jesus said it here, it's so that you may know that where he came from is the Father. This is what he's doing. I am going away and I am coming to you. If you love me, you would have rejoiced, because I'm going to the Father, because the Father is greater than I, in order so that they will believe and that they understand that every single thing now comes from the Father through him and through his actions. And he does this for the world to know that he loves the Father, and for the Father to make this beautiful gift enter in the world that now allows us to be reconnected with him. And that is the Holy Spirit. So John 5:19-23. Then Jesus replied, I assure you, the Son is not able to do anything on his own, but only what he sees the Father doing. For whatever the Father does, the Son also does these things in the same way. The Father loves the Son and shows him everything he is doing, and he will show him greater works than these, so that you will be amazed. And just as the Father raises the dead and gives them life, so the Son also gives life to anyone he wants. The Father, in fact, judges no one, but has given all judgment to the Son, so that all people will honor the Son just as they honor the Father. Anyone who does not honor the Son does not honor the Father who sent him. This is the amazing part of what Jesus is saying here. And so that we really, truly understand the power and where it flows from, the power of love, the instruction of love, everything that Jesus does, knows, and is a direct arm, the direct heart of God, the direct connection with God. And then also what the Father did when he positioned his Son. He shared his dominion with him. He gave him a position of authority in a way that now he's like, go to him. Go to him. I've positioned him to be the mediator. I've positioned him to be the judge. I've positioned him to be the intercessor. Go to him. If you love him, then I love you. He is an extension of me. He is a part of me. He is my son. I do not love anybody. I do not know anybody. I do not understand anybody unless they love my son. This is what the Father does. He gives us an understanding of what he expects of his followers, to honor and respect his son. This is the way that you get to the Father. There is no way to get to the Father other than going through the Son. And now at the end, he's also showing to you that, like, the judge that oversees everything before you even step to look at him is going to be Jesus. There is that first level of judgment that we walk through before we enter into the kingdom. Jesus talks about this and talks about there's those that will walk in the kingdom of heaven before they taste death. Do you not already be covered by that covenant? Are you not already facing a judgment by walking into the same covenant with Jesus? You're underneath the law that covers here, and you're being faced with death. Now, when you enter into the love of God through the Son, who are you afraid of at that point, right? Like, the Father's already goes, okay, well, you see the Son, you face that judgment. Now, the next level of judgment is now what? Do you listen? Are you following? For those that enter into the gift, now becomes, did you fully receive the gift? Are you living inside of the covenant with Jesus, which is now to be obedient to the Father, which means to listen and to be instructed. And for those that are now entering into the new covenant, you should not be so worried about the judgment that you face when you enter in. You already know that you've been born again. You're now in the Spirit. You're already living as a resident in heaven. Now it's just being a part of the new covenant means, do you listen? Do you allow for heaven to be flowing through you? And then judgment becomes more of, did you follow my instructions? Were you a good servant? We've all worked for people and done half-assed jobs, and some of those jobs didn't matter, but this job is really important. There's not a lot of people living out the demonstration that Jesus was living out in the world. And the Father sent us the Son so that we may know that the greatest form of love is to live out of self-sacrifice. Now to live for the Father's will and not our own. So before I get into the third point, this is what it really truly means for us to understand love and to understand the gift and to understand how to become the gift. You step out of the law into the new covenant and now live inside of the new covenant. And to live inside of the new covenant means to become obedient, to become somebody like Jesus, to lay down your own life and to live outside of the will of your own, and just to live for your love of the Father, your love of the Father's gift that came into the world. Jesus died for all of us. Do we not owe him to do the same? So that brings me to the third and final point. Love is demonstrated through our unity with the Father, through the Holy Spirit, and through Jesus. Everything revealed to us is shared from the Father through the Son, so that we become a living demonstration of his love in the world around us. It's through unity with the Godhead that we can be a demonstration of love in the world. And part of that is to live sacrificially. And God will start to take things out of your life that, one, really truly have never served a purpose other than one for yourself. And you'll start to learn that a lot of the things that you've put in your own life have actually never actually helped you get anywhere. They've actually harmed you more than they've done good. So don't be afraid that as he starts to deconstruct your life and build you into the person that he's always created you to be, that everything starts to look different, but in a brighter manner. It does require the self-sacrifice, but just remember that he loves you. He said he would leave this world so that we would know how much we love the Father, so that we can understand that the gifts that come from him are not the gifts of this world. They're eternal. So this is how Jesus demonstrated the gift, so that we can understand that there is going to be this process that to lay down your lives for others is the greatest gift. So look at your life. Are you laying down your life for others? And ask Jesus, what are the things that he wants you to start to put away so that you can start to become the gift that he's created for you to be, for him to be seen in the world. It's all for love. So until next time, be blessed.